Hello and welcome to Maidenhead Station, which is where I'm starting my journey today. I'm about to catch the train from platform 5, that's over there, and that is going to take me up the Marlow Branch, which is what we're exploring today. But to help me along the way, to give me all the facts and show me a few ins and outs, is a rather special guest. So today I'm with Mark Hopwood, the Managing Director of GWR, who spent his childhood growing up right next to the line and the trains to Marlow Station. And if you've never travelled on it before, it's a delightful branch line that has a throwback feeling of how all railways used to be, with an unusual layout at Bourne End, plus the line still uses physical tokens. In fact, there's a token machine for the branch on the platform at Maidenhead, which is where we'll start.
So this is, there's 3 machines on the line, and 1 here, 2 at Bourne End.
Hello, Slough, driver 2 Bravo 33, replacement token at Maidenhead. Okay, I'll leave these for 2 Bravo 34, please. Okay. Yep, got a token and a white light.
The branch from Maidenhead to Bourne End is just under 5 miles long, and the additional branch from there to Marlow, which we'll ride in a moment, is a further 2.5 miles. But here, we jump in the cab for a driver's eye view up the single track. The single line branch line passes through Furze, Platt and Cookham stations, and upon arrival at Bourne End, there's another token machine.
That's the token to go from Maidenhead to Bourne End, and we're going to get a thing called the staff to go from Bourne End to Marlow. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cancel the route up there. We're going to set the points to go to Marlow. Just listen in and you'll hear the points changing. And I can get that staff out, which is our authority to go to Marlow. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put this into the token machine, drop it down, and I'm going to phone the signaller and tell them that I've returned the token of Bourne End. So I'll get my diagram out, so I've got my head code for the train. Slough signaller, this is the guard on 2 Bravo 34, returning token at Bourne End. Thank you, guard out. Hang the phone up, turn the light off, all good. So I'm going to push the train ready to start button, and the signal's now set, the route's been set B for branch, and I'm going to give this to the driver. So you're in there too, easy. There you go, Mark.
This section is also all single track and just runs down to the end of the line at Marlow. It runs right alongside the River Thames, and there's no other signals along this stretch of the line. Once you've got the permission to enter the section, you're then the only train on this section of the railway. And at Marlow, Mark explains how he grew up here.
I was born outside Manchester, but I moved to Marlow with my parents when I was 2. And it's not the biggest secret in the railway industry, but I enjoy my trains. And, you know, I guess my interest in trains developed as I lived in Marlow. And I lived just round the corner, actually. I was 3 minutes walk away. So all our journeys out of Marlow were either on the bus to somewhere like High Wycombe, and I went to school in High Wycombe on the bus, or we'd use the train. But yeah, when I was, I suppose, about 8, I was allowed out on my own, and I would come down to the station to see the train often after school, and I was given strict instructions: you mustn't get on the train. And a number of the train crew said, well, do you want to come to Bourne End? It's more interesting at Bourne End, we've got another train and there's a set of points. So I started going to Bourne End and back, and I'd get home and my mum would say, you haven't been on the train? No, I've not been on the train. And Bourne End became Maidenhead, and Maidenhead of course was really exciting because that's where all the mainline trains were.
The train stands at Marlow for just a short time and then nips back to Bourne End, which is what we do. And this time I asked Mark about that rather intriguing wooden staff which I'd seen. He was happy to explain.
Geoff, this is the single line staff from Bourne End to Marlow. The difference between this and the token, there's only one of these, used to have a brass plate on it that said Bourne End to Marlow. So if you're watching this and you've got a brass plate, we would like it back, please.
What, you think someone
came, yeah, it got reported one morning as missing. Someone came down.
It went missing.
Until recently, it used to sit in the ground frame in the open air, and it went missing one night. So this is your authority to travel to Marlow, and the Bourne End Maidenhead section is controlled by token. There's 24 of those tokens, and they're distributed between 3 machines, one at Maidenhead, one at Bourne End here with the switch panel, and one on the up platform, which we'll show you later on. So similar process to going into Marlow, but slightly different. So I'm going to hand the staff across, and we're going to see how that works.
Because our authority to run between Bourne End and Marlow is the staff, but we're now going to go to Maidenhead. So first things first, I want to get rid of that because we don't need it, all right? And lock it in. I'll then go round to the token machine. I'll get ready to take a token out. Slow signaller, this is the guard on 2 Bravo 35 requesting token release at Bourne End, please. Token release, thank you. Bye-bye. I'll come round to the panel, go back into there, I'll cancel the route. We want to go to Maidenhead. Listen for the points, light, watch on there. It's locked. I've now got a token, so we've got authority to go between Maidenhead and Bourne End.
So the train makes a return trip back to Maidenhead, but we stay at Bourne End because Mark wants to show me across the street where the railway used to run.
And you can see that is the railway. The trains stop at a set of buffer stops just behind that fence. Of course, until 1970, the railway carried on across a level crossing here, carried on down what's now this road, and then headed out to Woburn Green, to Loudwater and to High Wycombe. So the railway finishes here at Bourne End, and then the trains reverse to go into Marlow.
There's an absolute charm about this branch line, which I'm starting to love because of its history and the fact that it uses tokens and a wooden staff. And Mark recognises this.
Oh yeah, and you know, it brings out my strongest schizophrenic tendencies, because on the one hand I'm you know, a sensible, serious railway manager that wants to see awkward operating issues eliminated and to have simple modern signalling, and the other half of me thinks this is wonderful, you know, that we've got this bit of railway that's still got 24 tokens in 3 instruments and a staff, albeit with the brass plaque missing, and that we have, you know, these operational eccentricities on a railway that's so close to the centre of London. And of course there's so much history there, and very often people say, well, why is it like this? Why does the train reverse at Bourne End? Why can you only get to Marlow from one platform and not the other? And of course there's a reason for all this, and one thing you can be absolutely certain of, Geoff, is if someone had built the line today, they wouldn't have built it like it's ended up.
We get back on the train to Marlow. Built by the Great Marlow Railway Company, the station opened in 1873 and was originally called Great Marlow. It was renamed to Marlow in 1899. A proposed extension to Henley-on-Thames never happened, but the station today is not on the same site as the original station. Mark takes us through its history, and we find out why locally it's known as the Marlow Donkey.
We're stood on the site of the old station in Marlow. This closed in 1967, replaced by a platform on the site of the coal yard, but there's still a little bit left of the old station. So let's just come round here, and this is part of the old cattle dock, I believe, from the old Marlow station. So sadly not much else survives, but you can see the traditional Great Western Railway brick, and this is what's left of Marlow station, which was built by the Marlow Railway, passed into Great Western Railway ownership, survived nationalisation, survived a lot of beaching, but was closed in 1967. And this site has changed form a couple of times. It was a wood yard, it then became an office block for Marriotts. Those buildings have all gone now, and it's now relatively modern residential housing, but the car park has still got this in place, which is great to see. So the railway used to stretch right down to this road junction. This is Station Road in Marlow. This is now called Station Approach. But this building here was originally built as the station hotel. It was renamed the Marlow Donkey after the train. So the locals in Marlow had got used to having their shuttle running up and down to Bourne End. And I'm not quite sure when, but the train became known as the Marlow Donkey. And the pub is named after the train. And the train crew who work the train to this day, they still refer, when they're doing the Marlow Bourne End section, to working the donkey. It was sad, with such a positive development around Crossrail and the Elizabeth line, that one of the things we had to do we stopped running through trains to London from Bourne End. So you used to have a train from Bourne End in the rush hour, 3 of them in each peak that ran through to London. It was originally old DMUs, of course, through the 60s, 70s and 80s, but then it progressed to turbos. But that wasn't the best use of the capacity, and even someone as keen on the Marlow branch as me could see that. So those trains stopped running in 2017. But with the Class 387s now running every half an hour, we've got the fastest ever journey time actually from Marlow to London, which is just over 45 minutes. So, and of course a fantastic connection at Paddington with the Elizabeth line. Still diesel trains, so although I've electrified a large chunk of the network, we've still got Greenford, Windsor, Marlow with Bourne End and Henley running with diesel trains with turbos. I'd also like to put the connection back in at Bourne End so that we can get to Marlow from both platforms, so that we don't have to force our customers off a train at Bourne End. And while it makes for an interesting bit of railway eccentricity, it's probably not what our customers would like to see.
And just chatting to Mark, just to say that where the passenger platform is now is actually where the old coal yard, the coal alignment, is now the passenger alignment. The actual passenger line used to run off, used to curve off from the trees through these warehouses and down to where that old platform was. But yeah. Oh, and the next train, by the way, the 1610, it's only going to Bourne End, so we're going to see all the passengers do the Bourne End shuffle around the buffers as people go from the Marlow to Maidenhead train, and then people off the Maidenhead onto the Marlow train. That's because normally off-peak, one train runs on the whole branch providing an hourly service. But in the morning and evening peaks, an additional train operates on the branch purely as a shuttle between Bourne End and Marlow, which allows for a half-hourly service. But the layout of the track at Bourne End station means that only trains on platform 1 can ever go to Marlow, as well as Maidenhead, and trains on platform 2 can only ever go to Maidenhead and not Marlow. So when 2 trains are running on the branch, passengers have to change platforms at Bourne End.
So we're here at Bourne End, and we've reached the time of the day now where the service splits in 2. So this train's just come in from Marlow to Bourne End. All the passengers have walked round, and the Maidenhead train has just arrived, and you can see passengers now coming round to get on the Marlow train. So quite a lot of passengers swap over from one train to another. And 2 trains here, yeah, both going back the way they've came. So the Marlow train back to Marlow, that is here all night up until just before 8 o'clock. And then this train, also a 2-car, doing the Maidenhead shuttle, connecting with London and Reading, of course.
And there's a third token machine here, which we'll have a look at in a moment. First, the shuttle train goes back to Marlow, and then our train heads off down to Maidenhead, and then Mark shows me the hut with the tokens in.
Of course, most people think single line, you have a token machine with single line tokens at one end and a machine at the other end. Well, just to confuse people, on the Marlow branch we have 3 token machines because there's 2 at Bourne End, one connected with the switch panel, but a separate one here on the up platform for when we're running the shuttle to Maidenhead. Built by Tyler and Company in Guildford sometime in the 19th century. 3 of these, and the single line tokens are here, and you can see their Maidenhead to Bourne End is engraved on them. There's 24 of those tokens. They're divided between the 3 machines, and as well as taking the token, it's important, you can see the lights here, it's important that the driver also check that the blue light is energized for the TPWS grid when it should be, but more importantly that it's de-energized and flashing when it needs to be as well. Contact on the telephone is with Thames Valley Signalling Centre, which is at Didcot. They don't have any control of the railway in terms of controlling signals or points, but they do have control of the token release. So every time a token's released, it's released by the signaller in Thames Valley Signalling Centre. Not many places left with these, not many places operating a suburban busy railway so close to London with single line tokens. So it's nice to have a bit of railway history here in regular use every day.
If you've never ridden the Marlow branch before, it's one to put in your bucket list to come and do. Our day was coming to a close though, but there's always time to ask my favourite question, which I always like to ask people who work in the railway. Do you love trains?
I do. I love trains.
I want to hear you say I love trains.
I love trains. It's a very difficult question to say why. I don't know. I've just always loved trains. It's always been a big part of my life. And I'm one of these lucky people. I've ended up doing this fantastic job running GWR, running a railway business, but also a business that I think I know reasonably well. And I've been able to make some great things happen and improve the service. But yeah, for me, it's a hobby as well as a job, which perhaps is not what everyone thinks should happen. But I've certainly had a fantastic career.
We'd had a great day out on trains on the Marlow branch, but it was time to stop. See what I did there? Just enough time, though, for some summing up thoughts with Mark. We've come down to the stop board where the tracks, actually, you can see over there, they go from 2 into 1. I love this branch line, Mark. Thank you for inviting me down to spend time today.
I just had a feeling, Geoff, that you'd enjoy this because there's so many little weird aspects of its operation, close to London but rather different from a railway perspective.
But on the GWR network, I'm thinking, is it the St Ives branch and the Loo branch? They've got their own little sort of quirkiness as well.
Yeah, and I think the Loo branch is probably the closest to this. There's a single line token from Liscard down to Coombe Junction. That line carries on to Moorswater, but sadly no freight at the moment. And then there's a single line staff that controls the line down to Loo, and the guard doing similar to what the guard does here, having to get out and change the points.
Okay, so if you've never been out to the Marlow branch, if you've never ridden, the branch lines on GWR, so there's Greenford, Windsor, Henley, and this one, Marlow. Those are the 4.
Absolutely.
You can get a Thames. Is it a Thames Rover ticket?
You can get a Thames Valley Rover ticket that covers all the branch lines and the main line.
Have a day out. Thank you so much. I'm going to shake your hand.
Thank you, Geoff.
For inviting me. You're great. Your knowledge is great. But as a local lad, I would expect you to know everything, and he does. We've been talking off camera, and he knows everything. So thank you so much. I'll see you on the train soon.
Yeah, see you soon.
Thanks. Bye.